Welcome back to the Well Below Average podcast with Nick Nepic here with us and me, Adam Ish. We're back again on a Saturday. Very special Saturday for the year, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Nick, how you doing?
Good. It's weird to be on a Saturday. In fact, when I was getting ready to log on and all that, I was thinking like, okay, week's about to start. Got to get ready for Monday. And I was like, oh, wait. After the show, I don't have to think about like, okay, what do I have to do tomorrow? Because I still have things to do, but it's just Sunday. It's not a Monday. So yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm especially tired today. We had one of our pop-ups and Pat woke me up. I'm just exhausted. So I like not having to sit there, go edit everything. Just I can let it breathe. And I'll post it tomorrow before the big game.
So you said the big game. Is there a reason why people can't say the Super Bowl? Like radio, TV, they all say the big game or the final game. But is there a reason? I guess I know there's a reason. I just don't know what it is. Do you know the reason?
I thought it was a copyright thing.
That makes sense, I guess.
And it's weird because I'm gonna have to beep you out because you said the words. When I go back and edit. No. I just said it, and I even last week, because we kind of picked our winners, I even went in and I put big game in one spot, and when I posted it somewhere else, I put Super Bowl, and I'm like, for us, it probably doesn't matter, but I guess larger news entities everybody's connected, so if one of the radio stations here is connected somehow to CBS, they're probably not allowed to say it. Because it's on NBC.
I guess unless it's on their station or something. We're just dropping name brands.
Yes.
I've always thought that, I know there's a reason for it. Maybe that's what it is, but I felt like I've heard this before. I felt like it was something stupider than that. But I don't know. Anyway, that's tomorrow.
Yes. Today, something for me personally, kind of. Facebook is a really good reminder of life events. And I was reminded that today, 12 years ago today, was my last day as an active duty Marine. It's been 12 years since I...
Wow. 12 years ago today.
Yeah. That means 16 years ago today, I was walking into boot camp.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm getting old, man.
I don't have a memory from... Actually, my wife earlier said, hey, she was on the Facebook memory thing. She goes, hey, 3 years ago today, we posted all the pictures from our wedding. Our wedding was in December. So not significant, but she did mention that.
Yeah, I wouldn't... Facebook has become my memory in a lot of ways because it's February 12th, but it's a dozen years since that meant anything to me. I was like, oh, it's just another day.
There we go.
But we have a heck of a show for you. We actually got a lot of news stories. I think some interesting stuff. We're going to talk... you know what? We're not going to talk Cobra Kai because I didn't watch it.
No!
Adam,
I have notes. I have notes on my phone.
We'll talk. You can spoil it for me. That's fine.
No, because first of all, I think it's another good episode. I think there's a lot of nuggets in there, and I want reaction here. So I want you to watch it. We can put two together next week.
And it was like 5:00 today. I'm like, okay, I gotta go watch it.
In fact, I watched it yesterday, like last night, because I was like, okay, I know we're gonna record, a different day. I'm gonna watch it earlier because I don't want to forget. Don't want to pull an Adam.
Yeah,
apparently.
My bad. Well, we're not gonna talk Cobra Kai, but we're gonna talk a few other things. Some memes going around. Got some NBA trade stuff. Probably want to dig into, and yeah. So before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about our sponsors. I'll let you go first.
Yeah, Rodeo Coffee is a black shirt behind Adam's noggin there. They are a small batch coffee roaster right here in Fort Worth. You can find their coffee truck. I think it's Thursday through Saturday. Not completely positive on that. Right outside like the Walsh neighborhood, which is West Fort Worth, like off of 30. look them up on Instagram, Rodeo Coffee. They you can go there, their coffee truck, get espresso drinks, all that stuff. They also have great just coffee beans for you to grind and make at your own home. Phenomenal. I've been saying for a while now, I do need to buy some. It's been a little bit since I've had any. So I'm going to hit up their website, check them out, order some coffee. You can also go see them in person. Find them on Instagram, find them on Facebook. They're real active on there. Give them a shout out. Tell them you heard about them here at the Mobile Average Podcast.
Yes, they are Thursday through Sunday, 7.
Oh, through Sunday, excuse me.
Yeah. Outdoor coffee shop in Walsh, Assembly Park Drive, and Maker's Way. So if you're in the Fort Worth area, head out there.
There we go.
Always good. Our next sponsor is Local Menace, which is a Dallas-based streetwear brand. They are hell-bent on destroying your wardrobe with some awesome hats, t-shirts, hoodies, pins, patches. Just an awesome, cool lifestyle brand. Artist-owned. This is one of my favorite designs. They got some cool designs, always putting new stuff out. Just amazing. Justin, the owner, is an incredible artist. So check them out at localmenace.com. And we even have a special code, Beard Crew. Get you 25%, which is a huge percentage off of your entire order. Let's them know we sent you. You get a nice discount, and you get to look cool. You can wear that with your Rodeo Coffee.
There you go. And who doesn't love a T-shirt, right? They have great T-shirts. Who doesn't love a T-shirt?
Yeah, I love my T-shirts. Some of my favorite, just a plain Nike, but man, it's so soft.
My shirt's just red. That's all. Not.
Well, let's move into our news segment, Explore or Snore. This is where, if you're new to the channel, I read off headlines, and Nick tells me if they're boring and we're going to snore, or they're sound interesting and they're worth exploring. Here we go. First one, I got these all out of order. Ohio mayor concerned ice shanties could lead to prostitution.
We have to explore that, I feel like. So let's explore it.
So I saw the video of this, and it's one of these. It's a small Hudson, Ohio, smaller town, I'd imagine, outside of Cleveland. Actually, an upscale city outside of Cleveland. The mayor was giving a speech during some city council meeting that he's against allowing ice shanties on the frozen lake because prostitution. The video is quite interesting because he takes this big leap. It's like, oh, we're going to allow ice fishing. Then we're going to have to allow shanties. And then we're going to have prostitution.
So is a shanty like a little hut or something?
Yeah, it's like a little... I equate it to like a deer stand, but
okay,
for ice fishing. You just...
Gotcha.
Like a floorless hut. Fits 1-2 people, and it's got a hole in it. You go fishing.
Okay.
He says, does someone come back next year and say, I want an ice shanty on the Hudson Spring Park for X amount of time? And if you allow ice fishing with shanties, then that leads to another problem, prostitution.
You said this. That's quite the leap.
It is. It really jumps. And he's doubling down and saying that he's looked at data at other places where there's been ice fishing. And
okay.
Yeah, police are always... He kind of makes it sound like police are always busting people for prostitution and ice shanties.
I mean, we live in Texas, so like I've never heard of this. But I mean, if he has the data to prove it, he could be right. I've just never heard of this before. I feel like if it was a big deal, it'd be like a national story, like one of those things on like 2020 or something, or Dateline. Did you know there's a problem out there? Prostitution in these ice shanties. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. I feel like local officials kind of have that to say a lot. Just kind of absurd things. So Not too surprising, but come on. Also, what's the political spin? Like, what is he really upset about? There's always something like that too.
It doesn't seem, when discussing proposed legislation, it's wise to discuss the potential for unintended consequences. This is kind of further statement. Now he's been in controversy for calling for members of the school board before because they were using college level writing prompts at a high school that he called child pornography.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like this guy is an over exaggerator.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
But it's like it's an ice shanty for fishing. It's temporary. It's not. I mean, I can understand like truck stop. You hear about that?
Well, it's a slippery slope, Adam. It's a slippery slope.
It is. They just prostitution and the ice fishing is historically bad. So, next story. Massachusetts game show. That's a hard word to say when you're tired. Game show winner gets trip to New Hampshire.
Ooh, I really like New Hampshire, so let's explore that.
So this person was not excited about as excited about New Hampshire as you are.
Oh, okay.
A contestant on Price is Right from Massachusetts won the what's it called, the very end Price is Right.
Beats me.
The Showcase Showdown, I think is what he won. And it's always like a bunch of merchandise. Have you watched? You're familiar with the show?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, well, the vacation package that he wound up winning, or she wound up winning, was a trip to New Hampshire.
Okay.
Which apparently is very close to where she lives. She lives
close New to England, that whole area. They're all a bunch together there.
And she's gone. She says she's been over there thousands of times in her life. She was hoping for a tropical vacation, but instead she got a $10,000 trip to New Hampshire. I
can understand that. Like, think of it this way: like, if you went on The Price is Right, you want a trip to downtown Dallas or something like that. Like, sure, it's a free trip, but come on, you're not too excited. Now, I've always been a fan of New Hampshire. Never been there, but I've always told my wife, like, every summer when it's like boiling hot, I'm like, let's go to New Hampshire because the weather's probably amazing. They probably have great pancakes, good syrup up there, I bet. So New Hampshire's on the list of places I'd love to visit. But if I, lived in Massachusetts, I probably wouldn't be thrilled either.
Yeah, but doesn't it kind of depend on what, I likened it to going to Oklahoma.
I bet it's closer than that though.
Probably. Of course, if someone gave me a all expense paid trip to Austin.
Yeah, I'm not going to complain. If it's free, I'm not going to complain. Do you think, would you think you'd be pretty good at The Price is Right?
No.
Or do you think you would struggle?
I have no idea what things cost.
Go
ahead.
Well, I was going to say, just of all these game shows, we need to do a segment. I don't know, do you have YouTube TV? There's a channel my wife found, it's like a game show channel. And one night we got caught watching it for 3 hours. And it was almost, the show was like a knockoff of Family Feud, kind of similar to that. And the people were just morons. Just did not know anything. And I need to find it and watch it and bring it to the show. But I was just, some of these people on game shows are just awful. Now, I think The Price is Right is pretty tough, but some of the Family Feud stuff, that style, I mean, you've got to be an idiot to not get some of those things. But anyway,
I'd be nervous. I get nervous, especially around I would be so nervous around Steve Harvey.
Yeah, I probably would too.
I don't feel like I'd be able to answer. I'm very, when I first meet somebody, it doesn't matter who it is, I'm very shy. I'm a listener. I observe.
Well, when you're put on the spot, it makes it harder. But some of those Family Feud answers are bad. But anyway, did it say this lady end up going to New Hampshire, or what's the end story there?
It didn't say. She just wished she would have gotten a cruise or a tropical vacation. And she was laughing. You know, apparently she was not upset about it, but it was definitely probably not what she was expecting to win the grand prize.
Oh, sorry, lady. Deal with it, I guess.
What about Delaware? What about a trip to Delaware? All right.
I would say Delaware is the most random state, by the way. Like, of all the states, Delaware. Most, but very forgotten. I mean, our president's from there, so there you go.
I had a Marine that served with from Delaware, and I would always pull up the clip of Wayne's World 2. You know what I'm talking about, where they...
I've not seen Wayne's World 2.
So they're doing a skit, and there's like a green screen, and they're like, we're traveling around the country, and it's like, oh, Texas, oh, yeehaw, bustin' Bronx, and California surf dude, and it goes through all these states, and then it pops up Delaware, and they stop and look at each other. Hi, we're in Delaware. They don't know. It's so awesome.
But like, really, no one can tell you anything about Delaware. Nobody.
No, I know for business, it's good for taxes.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, when I was in business school, I read an article that like the top 500 companies in America are all based in Delaware, and it's literally just a little like building. It's just mailboxes. They're all like PO box type things. And there's one guy that works there, and he just collects the mail and then forwards it out to the companies, and that's their official address.
Always a loophole.
Yeah. This one's interesting because I think it has very important ramifications for our show. This is from 93.7 The Fan, Pittsburgh sports radio.
Yeah.
All sports all the time.
I am familiar.
So they put out an article on Odyssey, Cowboys Patriots fans ranked least compatible with Steelers Nation.
Like, those two types of fans are the least compatible with. I can tell you exactly why. Patriots, because if it weren't for Tom Brady, the Steelers, like Ben Roethlisberger, would probably have like at least 3 Super Bowl wins. Patriots, like a big arch nemesis of the Steelers. Everyone hates the Patriots, but especially when you lose them in the playoffs, like fairly consistently. And then the Cowboys, part of it goes back to like the rivalry of the 70s. I think that's part of it. But also the identity of those two teams is so different. Like, think Jerry Jones, the star, the nicest. Like, the Steelers still have wooden lockers in their locker room. Like, the Steelers are blue collar, old school. That's the identity, and the Cowboys just aren't that. And so I'm sure they're saying like, well, that's how the people are too. I'm guessing here. I haven't read it.
It's basically a relationship article. Like, if your friends' relationship, this makes you incompatible. That, yeah, you can't.
I would say, if my wife was a Cowboys fan, like when we first met, I would be like less interested. Like, she couldn't have cared less about football, but like she was like, oh yeah, I'm a huge Cowboys fan. I would have been like, eh.
Real annoying about it. Like,
now I grew up here. Like, I have lived here like almost my entire life. Worked at the Cowboys radio station. Like, fine with Cowboys fan. I guess it was worse when I was younger, but like if she was a Patriots fan, like diehard Patriots fan, I would have like had a hard time like watching football with her, because the Patriots are cheaters, or were, maybe still are. I don't know. But I get that. I can get that.
Yeah, it was funny today. Speaking of Patriots, we were at the pop-up. There wasn't very much business early on because it was so cold. I was talking to another vendor, and we were talking about football and stuff, and he comes out as a Patriots fan, and I really like, in my head it was like, oh, I thought this guy was cool. I really looked. My attitude changed.
When you're a big sports fan, like how people, the fans of teams, you assume they're like that. Like, for example, I don't like the Chiefs. Like, the Chiefs kind of drive me crazy. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, kind of a mega, just annoying type personality. Chiefs fans now, like, if I see somebody wearing a Chiefs shirt, I'm like, ugh, gross. And really, they're probably fine people. They're probably great. But that's how, like, or a Lakers jersey, you're like, oh gosh, get over yourself. Like, it's that same thing, and it's weird how we feel that way when we're a passionate sports fan. Now, like, if somebody's walking around in like some sort of MLS jersey, like I'm not an MLS fan at all, I could care less. But when you're super committed to a team in a specific league, that kind of thing happens.
What do you think about I saw a tweet about this, friend of the show, Bob Saget, about the person that is a fan of the Yankees, the Lakers, and the Cowboys at the same time?
They just picked the most popular. Like, they were trying to become a sports fan, and they picked the most popular, and that's what they came up with. What I have a problem with, because you be a fan of whoever you want for the most part, but I have a problem with people who like live in a certain place, so like take DFW, and are a fan of other teams. But like me, like my family's from Pittsburgh, like my dad is a diehard Steelers fan, like I could never be anything else. Like, if they're just from DFW and just pick somebody else, like just to, like, a part of it is like you're I don't know, you're tied to that. But if you're a fan of all the best teams, you're not really a fan. You just want to, have somebody to root for that's always relevant, even if they're not good. Like, the Cowboys are always relevant, even if they're not winning Super Bowls. The Lakers, same thing. Yankees, of course, same thing.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point the tweet was making, that, yeah, it went on to say that you're probably a bad person if you're a fan of all those, but I won't go that far. But yeah, so our relationship is not going to make it, according to this article.
At least we know early.
Yeah. Next story, Explorer Snore. We have explored all. What do we got? This is actually a good one. Autopsy report. Well, just read it.
What? Did you just say a good one? And we're about to talk about someone's death.
Yes.
Let the record show. Anyways, go ahead.
Dying. Autopsy report says Bob Saget had COVID-19 and died as a result of blunt head trauma.
So, I don't want to bring down the mood, but I do want to talk about this. He had COVID-19 before, like he wasn't positive at the time, from what I understand.
This is what it's saying he was.
Oh, really? I knew he had it in the past. He said it like on some podcast. Pretty terrifying though that he died of like a brain bleed. Like he must have, fallen and hit like the back of his head or something.
Yeah. And that's what I initially heard, that his family was kind of speculating that he must have hit his head that day and just shrugged it off. Because, sometimes, like, I've hit my head hard before, and it's like, it hurts for a minute, but then it's like, okay.
Well, like, if you hit your head up here, like, this is like the hardest part of your skull, but if you go back here, those are the soft spots where, you get pretty messed up, I guess. And he wasn't on like any drugs or any alcohol effects, but he was on like antidepressants, things like that. But apparently, had nothing to do with, what happened.
And apparently, he also had an enlarged heart with a 95% blockage on one side. Apparently, he didn't know about. So,
I didn't
for him much longer anyway.
I didn't see that. I didn't see all those details. Yeah, real sad. Obviously, not according to you. I think it's real sad. But yeah, I was interested to see those details come out. Glad to know that there's no foul play and they didn't find any evidence of that. But still, of course, nonetheless, upsetting.
Yes. So. But yeah, I thought that was kind of weird. Man, you never know. Last story, another downer story. A FedEx driver shot at, chased by father-son because of his race, attorney says.
Well, we've explored everything, so we're going to snore this, and I just don't want to get into it. I don't want to get into another serious one.
Well, then that concludes our Explorer Snore segment, and I was promised hate and vitriol for this week's Nick Hates It.
It is time for Nick Hates It, and we got a couple of things here. The first one, 2 days from now is Valentine's Day. Adam, your thoughts?
I lucked out with my wife. She wouldn't get mad, but if I were to go and break the bank on her for Valentine's Day, it would not be super well received. Me, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me at all. Never has. I guess when I was in grade school and I got my Valentine's.
I hate anything that is like commercialized Christmas, New Year's Eve, Valentine's Day, money grabs by the man trying to just hold us down, you know? And that's what Valentine's Day is. It's a made up, stupid thing that like we have expectations for. I don't care for it. I do like candy, so like if I get some candy, that's cool. But it's just utter nonsense. And so we're not doing anything for Valentine's Day this year. My wife does like flowers, like I'll probably, something like that. Just like a note of kindness, of appreciation. But I don't need some arbitrary day, to do that. And so I hate Valentine's Day quite a bit. Bummer for some guys that it's the day after the Super Bowl. Like Valentine's Day is on a Monday, so a lot of ladies are like, hey, we're going to dinner Sunday night. And they're like, no, we're not. It's the last, football game of the year. So we'll probably hear about, keep an eye on that for some news stories about crazy breakups from Valentine's Day and the Super Bowl. I'm sure we'll hear stuff about that. Hate Valentine's Day a lot. Another thing that I hate, and this happened to me this week, I had to go get a COVID test because I had COVID. Haven't had symptoms in like 10 days, whatever. Tested positive, though, again yesterday somehow. Anyway, I had to go and I had an appointment. And I got there, a minute or two before the appointment, just a drive-up test. But there were like 5 cars in front of me, even though you have to have an appointment. And what I hate, and I feel like doctors' offices get actually, the more I thought about this, they get a bad rap because it always takes forever at the doctor's office. Here's the problem. One person is late, and so now that doctor's having to cater to them. Now they're behind getting to everybody else, so it's taking you forever. You're having to sit in the room, wait 30 minutes just to see the doctor, then they leave 20 minutes to get the nurse to check you out. Everybody's late because of the one jerk that was late to their appointment. I hate, with a passion, people that are perpetually late. Not the person, but the act of being perpetually late. So hopefully, Adam, you're not that person.
No, I am. If I'm going to be late, most times I just won't show up. If I don't care enough to be on time, probably means I don't care enough to go.
That's fair. I am of the belief that if you're not early, you are late. So if you're on time, you're early. People that are late drive me up a wall, especially like at appointments, because it throws off everybody else. Now we're all behind, and now we're in a bad mood. And it's not the doctor's fault. It's not the nurse's fault. But it's that one person, their appointment's at 10:30, they show up at 10:45, and now we're rolling down the hill here.
So I will agree with you, except for one instance. It's the world I live in, is the VA.
My dad, rest in peace, dealt with the VA for decades, and I heard many a rant about the VA.
Now, I think it's partially the doctors, the administration, they overschedule, but I also think you're dealing with like old people.
Shots fired at old people.
Old people are terrible.
Man, that's too. First of all, rest in peace, Bob Saget. We got a good in description, and then we got old people are terrible. We need to record on Saturdays more often.
I know. I'm very tired. My filter's kind of broken here. No, but you get a lot of chatty old guys. And I think that's part of it. I was in a waiting room once. I was supposed to have like a 1 o'clock appointment. We're talking, I didn't see the doctor till 4. And I'm in this little waiting room before COVID with the chattiest people. I'm on my phone. I never looked up, and then people would not stop talking to me. Like they don't get it. They don't.
I've never had to do anything with the VA, but have you ever had to go like the Social Security office or courthouse, anything like that. Wait times can be the DMV can be pretty ridiculous. Any government type entity, fix it, Joe. That's what I say. Can all be pretty ridiculous as far as wait times, but just people that are late, it drives me crazy. Especially like when you plan something, you're like, hey, let's get together, 1:00 at our house or whatever it is, and you show up at 1:30. Like, come on. We planned this. Like, we had this planned ahead of time. We talked about it on Wednesday. It's Saturday. Get it together. So I can't stand people that are always late. If you're a church person or you've been a church person, the people that always show up by like the third song. It's like the third song every week. Church starts at the same time every week, no matter what. And you're always showing up. It's the third song. Service starts at 10. You show up at 10:15.
Church makes it worse because any good church, you start from the back, you fill in from the back to the front. Everybody,
right?
People go early to get the seat in the very back, and so if you're late, that means you're crawling all the way down to the front couple of pews, and everybody sees you.
Yeah. But I certainly hate those two things. Just sleep.
Well, that is good. You brought it today. You brought the hate, and I'm sure you hate that I didn't watch Cobra Kai.
I think that you're going to have some good thoughts. This was episode 6, I think. We crossed the halfway point, and we're seeing some good stuff here. I'm enjoying it.
And I was putting the show together, and I put it down. I wrote it down on the run sheet. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go watch it, and then I don't know. I don't know what I did since then.
You dropped the ball.
You know what? My kids came home. They stayed at my mom's house, and then my mom dropped them off. That's what happened. I'm blaming my mom.
That's fair. That's very fair. But next week we'll review episodes 6 and 7. How about that?
That works for me. So are you a King of the Hill fan?
Yes, but not a passionate one.
You're familiar with the show, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's popular show. I discovered something this week. Now it is certainly not safe for work. But have you heard of Hank Trill? Trill.
I haven't.
It is the funniest thing. It's a rapper who raps as Hank Hill in the voice.
Okay.
And literally, like, the first song I heard was a diss track to Bobby, his son.
Okay.
And it was based off the episode where Bobby took women's self-defense and then kicked Hank in the nether region.
Okay.
And it's all these songs are is Hank Hill rapping about propane and how he's got money, but it's like very like aggressive hardcore rap.
That's funny. I'll have to look that up when we get off the call.
It's on Spotify. Hank Trill. It is just mind blowing. Now it's not something you listen to. Like I went to the gym and put it on, and it's funny, but then it's like, well, there's only like 5 or 6 songs, but it's something else, man. I recommend if you're now if you have delicate sentiments, don't go for it. It's pretty aggressive.
Yeah. That's funny.
But Hank Trill. So no Cobra Kai. That kind of takes the bite out of our show there. But a couple of sports things here we'll get to before we get out of here. It's a little bit shorter show than usual. Have you seen this meme going around about the Simpsons predicting the Super Bowl?
No, but I know the Simpsons are like all about like they always predict things. They're always on top of it.
So I believe it came from like the 4th season. So that would have been like early 90s. And basically it was Bengals beat LA 34-31 in the Super Bowl. Wow. And it went around, and I even picked I did a little free pick 'em, the Fox Sports pick 'em. I'll take those numbers. But then I saw, it's disappointing, it was Bengals beat the LA Chargers.
Oh.
And everybody kind of glossed over that because I guess Chargers in LA in the early 90s, 80s. I don't know when they moved.
The Chargers were always an AFC team. How would that be even possible? Investigate. That's what we need to do.
I need to, yeah, but it was disappointing because I thought it was great. Like, I'm like, heck yeah, I'm gonna bet that. But then you find out it was not.
Man,
and I might be butchering that it was the Chargers. I felt like I said it was the Chargers when I read.
Was it the Raiders?
Or the
The Raiders used to be in LA. Yeah, I guess that's true.
So
I don't know.
Yeah.
The Rams were in LA. I think they were an OC team.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But it was a nice little thing floating around there for a while. I thought it was interesting that we almost had a Simpsons prediction, but you know, those sneaky internet people omitted some information. And the only other sports topic I have is I think there's some NBA news.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially for the Mavs. I mean, James Harden gets traded to the 76ers. Ben Simmons goes to Brooklyn. The big thing, though, here, Kristaps Porzingis traded to the Wizards for Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertrand. The Mavericks also give up a pick, I think, in that. Maybe they don't. I don't remember.
Second round.
Second round pick. Surprising. I was actually surprised. I didn't think they would do anything. I can't say that I'm upset by it. I'm also not super excited. Like, I think Kristaps Porzingis was never available. He's certainly the better player of the two, but he's never on the floor and makes a lot of money. So you dump your contract that you don't like, and they give you two contracts they don't really like, and here we are. I don't think it makes you better. However, if they can both be on the floor and give you something in the playoffs, there's no guarantee that KP is on the floor. He, got hurt last year, something like that. I mean, didn't show up. Always on and off the floor. Knee this, ankle that. Was beyond frustrating. And really, you knew what you were getting. But when you make that trade initially several years ago, you're thinking, okay, he's going to be healthy. Like, he's past the knee injury. But if you look at his history, it's crazy. It's like a wrist, an ankle, a hamstring, whatever. I mean, it's always something. And so it's unfortunate. He seems like a good guy. Really wanted it to work here. Had potential. But here we are. And if the Mavericks are going to win a title with Luka, spoiler alert, I don't think it's going to happen this year. But if they are, it's going to have to be in the mold of that 2011 team. They have one superstar, role players, some good role players, even some very good. But Tim Hardaway Jr. is hurt, so that's, isn't great. And so we'll see. They've got to start doing something, though. We've talked about this before. I'm not saying Luka's out the door, but rich people of status are fickle. If you don't start doing something to help him out, he's going to want to look and go somewhere else. That's just the nature of sports, especially the NBA. And I can't say I would blame him. I'd probably do the same thing. And so if they don't start doing something, win a playoff series this year, and maybe go get some free agents or a free agent or whatever, and start building on that. Who knows what could happen. So those are my overall thoughts. Not excited about the trade. I was over KP, wasn't really a fan, but at the same time, it doesn't make you much better. Now, you weren't going to get much for him. Like, that shows you how low his value was, but just indifferent, really.
Yeah, and I've seen both ways. It seems like there's a lot of people coming out like glad about it, which I don't think is the right emotion. Some people are very mad about it, which I don't think is right. But it's, what good is he if he's unavailable?
Right.
And it's. I can imagine, and you look at with Nico Harrison and Jason Kidd, you got some new decision makers that weren't here when he was brought in, and you don't know how their relationship is. So it's
right.
I think you got to give those guys the benefit of the doubt, putting the team together, their version of what a winning team looks like, and see. And it didn't include KP, and I think that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, and there's something to be said for like cutting your losses. Like, okay, this isn't working. Let's move on. I respect that. I think a lot of teams don't do that. We talked about the Steelers earlier. I think they can fall into the trap of like not doing that. I mean, even Jerry Jones a little bit. Like Jalen Smith hung around for a while. Jerry is a very loyal person. And so you've got to be able to move on when you feel like, okay, we made a mistake or it's not working, whatever it is. So we'll see. Luka went off for 51 the day that the game after, so that's not a bad thing.
And I caught that your first thing was James Harden and Ben Simmons. You know, your Harden Simmons folks really
we
enjoyed that.
We were really in the news. Yeah, really in the news. Harden Simmons University, proud alum here. Go Cowboys. Let me actually do the sign here. By the way, Harden Simmons created this hand signal. Texas Tech stole it in the early 30s because Tech wasn't founded until 1927. So don't let anyone tell you Oklahoma State, get out of my face. Harden Simmons was the first school in the U.S. with a cowboy as their mascot. So take that. Wyoming as well. But yeah, Harden Simmons, social media team person, whoever, I had some fun with it. That trade is weird because I don't think Harden is really any good, and they gave up a ton to get him. They weren't getting anything out of Ben Simmons, like I get that, but they gave up Seth Curry, draft picks. I guess it's the idea, the Rams thing, like if it wins you an NBA title, if it wins you a Super Bowl, what does it matter? But I don't think Harden's really that good, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. I had something else and I forgot. That is all I have. I think that's it. Baseball's still in lockout. Oh, actually, got to have a little face-to-face meeting with our friend Levi Weaver. Yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it was nice to catch up with him. Hopefully we can get him on the show again soon and get some news with our baseball lockout, which doesn't seem like it's...
Yeah. Baseball cannot get out of their own way, truly.
So, and I wanted to ask him this, but we were talking about something else. Do you think with the baseball lockout, is it a deadline makes deal situation, or are these two sides so stubborn and battled that doesn't even matter?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think my gut, and I haven't followed this closely, my gut says the former, like deadline's going to make a deal, like they're losing a lot of money. At the same time, people are stubborn, especially rich people. So who knows?
Rich people versus wealthy people in this case.
We have our last football game tomorrow, at least important one, until the draft. It's a little emotional. Feels like just yesterday we started the season, you know?
Yeah. And I'm sorry, I keep chasing rabbits here. The Super Bowl, to me, is one of the hardest games to watch. Do you feel that way? Like, with all the pageantry around it, like the game itself is hard to...
Well, it's like an event. Like we love the commercials. Oh, the halftime show. Oh, we always have growing up in my house, my mom would do like a Super Bowl menu, even for just the three of us. Like she'd make some fun food. Like, oh, the food, like it's an event. So it's hard to lock into just the football.
Right.
I totally get that. My wife is pumped for the Super Bowl because she just loves the commercials. We're making like some poppers and some wings. Like she's excited about that. The halftime show, even though like I don't think she really cares a lot much. Like it's always fun. So it's hard to like it. I mean, I haven't watched the Steelers in a Super Bowl in quite a while, but the last one that I did was 2010, and I remember I watched it at my parents' house. I wasn't living at home, but I watched it at my parents' house, and they had people over. And so I went into my childhood bedroom and shut the door and watched it just by myself because I was so nervous and like stressed out. And they lost. But I surely would do something like that again. Like I tell my wife, like I'm fine having a Super Bowl party, like, you know, post-pandemic, whatever, like have people over. But if the Steelers are playing, nobody is coming over. Like, sorry, not happening. And so it is hard to focus on the game. I hope we have a good one. I think it could be, but it's tough to focus on, what we are typically focused on every Sunday.
Yeah, I went shopping this last week and bought a bag of wings because I'm gonna make wings. My 10-year-old daughter saw that, realized it was Super Bowl, and asked, did we get wings? And my wife, yeah, your dad bought a little bag of wings for himself. So my 10-year-old got on to me for not buying enough wings for everybody because she likes to watch the commercials and eat wings on Super Bowl. So we had to go buy more wings.
Now, will your kids watch, or maybe in and out?
My son will hang out for a little while. He was with me most of last year. But no, my wife, my daughters, they'll watch the commercials, and they'll probably come in there during the halftime show. They'll want me to tell them on the halftime show. They'll come where I watch TV, and they'll come in there. And I'm excited about the halftime show.
Yeah,
when
I
was growing up, it was Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre. That was,
I think that the NFL did this weird thing, really around what was it, 2000, the mid 2000s, 2010, where it was Rolling Stones, old artists, and we're still doing some old artists, The Weeknd last year, real modern. The artists for this halftime show, while they are were at their peak quite a while ago, they're all still popular and all still around and relevant. So I think that's cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good game, good event, like you said. It's basically a holiday. A lot of calling in sick for work tomorrow.
Dang it! I don't want my boss. My boss, I think, sometimes listens to our podcast, so. But I should have taken Monday off. I should have taken Monday off.
You still tested positive for COVID?
Man, my symptoms came back, actually.
That's
very sick. Very sick. Weird how that happened. Right after the Super Bowl, too. But hopefully you get a good game. We'll see.
Well, that does it for me. Great discussion. This is a good show. I like this show. I'm so tired.
I had a lot of hate and vitriol. You were far behind me there.
I don't think I was. I think I was competing,
Yours was subtle, though. Subtle.
Well, I have nothing else. Nick, do you have anything before we get out
I'm
of here?
good.
All right. Well, until we see you again, stay above average.